locked in, and you know, there's only so much that can replicate on the field reps. But what have you been doing to make sure that you're actually locked in when you're out there, knowing that you can't do anything?
I still go to meetings. I still study my playbook. You know, take down the right notes, and then whenever I get some free time, I go out to train at Black Sheep.
Is it fair to say at this point that you will not step foot on the practice field in practice until you're signed?
Yes,
How badly do you want to be on the field?
very bad. I mean, I've been doing this for mostly my whole life, and then all of a sudden it's gone over something very simple to fix. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
Have they given you any answers as to why they're choosing this year and you to set a new precedent?
If I really wanted to say, yeah, I can't say what I really want to say, but it's their contract. They can do what they want with it.
How important is it for you, do you think, from a player standpoint, to be on the field for training camp?
It's very important. I mean, like, you gotta get your body somewhat prepared to play football. Especially me coming from college to the NFL is a way physical game. Even though I play in SEC, which is very physical, but nothing compares to actually playing in the NFL. So I thought it'd be, I thought I'd be on the field by now. That's what I would thought.
What have your representation, family, friends? Obviously, you've got to lean on a lot of people to kind of get through a difficult time like this. What have they been telling you to help you?
Uh, you know, just take it day by day. Pray to God. You know, He's always gonna stand with me, no matter what. Uh, and just know you're doing the right thing. Like some people say, we all agree Trey will be right, right? But technically, he's still 1% wrong for being under contract. So, in my case, I'm 100% right. So it should be a no-brainer. And in Trey's case, I think it should be a no-brainer too. I mean, he led 17 and a half sacks for 2 years back to back. If I was the GM or I was the owner, take all my money. But I guess they don't operate like that. But
Have you talked to Trey at all?
I talked to him the last time he was here, but other than that, no.
Has this experience soured your taste for the Bengals?
I'm not gonna say that. I mean, I'm still new here. We still have a long future ahead of us.
All right, man. Well, a little hot out here. I don't even know how hot it is. But Shemar Stewart, I believe his name is, Texas A&M. Um, he going through a unique situation with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, apparently, a lot of these rookie contracts, to my knowledge, are now starting to become fully guaranteed. All right. So his issue with the Bengals, while he's sitting out, which most fans always speak on things or people speak on things without researching, which in my opinion is no point to be a lazy researcher. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no point not to fact check stuff when you got an encyclopedia in your hand. Back in the day, you had to get that big encyclopedia book and look through it, right? So to me, it just makes no excuse for people to be lazy to go read up on this. People just so lazy; they just refuse to read, they refuse to research, and basically, what's going on here is they want to put a clause in this contract, which is totally legal. It's never been put in any other rookie contract that I know of, and the Bengals is the first time they doing it. So the clause, for the most part, is basically saying, if he violates, gets suspended, that could be for pest, that could be for misconduct. If they deem what he do they suspend him or he get in trouble, they can void the rest of the contract. Simple as that. At that point, he got suspended. They can void the rest of the guaranteed money on the contract. Let's say, I don't know, he get convicted of a case, and they say, you know what, we're gonna void the rest of his contract. We don't owe him no money. That's a clause that's never been put in any other rookie's contract. I know specifically for the Bengals, this the first year they doing it. So they basically want him to sign that clause that if he gets suspended for misconduct or PEDs or anything, that they can just default all the money in the contract. And Mike Brown, if you don't know, he's considered one of the worst owners in sports. You can go and say Mike Brown. At one point, it was the Fords and the Lions. If you want to step outside of the NFL, James Dolan finally got together for the New York Knicks. So when you start having those conversations and stuff, Mike Brown, his father used to own the Browns. That's where the Cleveland Browns got their name from. I'm not. I think he owned the original Cleveland Browns, which I think either they are. I think they may be the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if either they're the Baltimore Ravens or the Indianapolis Colts. I believe they're the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know why I'm doing the brain fart. I usually don't do football videos at this time of the year. And I feel that, Shemar Stewart, I mean, I did a little bit of a film breakdown of him on my Detroit channel. That link's in the description. And it's inside the Linktree Mercy Sports Talk. So I did somewhat of a breakdown on him. If you want to know him as a football player, very versatile. He's played, at different weights. Elite athlete. He's played on the edge. He's played on the inside. He kind of reminds you of a guy like Trayvon Walker, where the Jags drafted #1, I believe, overall at Georgia. I mean, Trayvon Walker was a guy who had the size and strength to play as a defensive tackle. On top of having the size and strength to play as a defensive tackle, he can stand up and rush the edge rusher. He can drop a little bit and cover. So he was one of those unique guys, and kind of those guys that kind of are utility guys or don't have a certain position. You think about Isaiah Simons, I think, who the Arizona Cardinals drafted. Mark Barron out of Alabama really wasn't a safety, kind of that joker position. They never really pan out. You know what I'm saying? It's different when you come into college out of high school, you're an athlete and they figure out where you best fit. But a lot of these guys that come in the NFL without a defined position, it's kind of, it kind of don't work out. Honestly, it doesn't usually work out for them. So that's the unique thing. But, he's right there to make a lot of plays and he just don't make the plays. He don't get a lot of sacks. He don't get, but he flashes on tape. Like he's right there to get the plays and he just missed making the sack by that much, or, so he's just right there. And if you can just get him to get that extra few inches, I believe you have an elite athlete and elite football player, but nobody knows why, he didn't make those plays. And really he needs to be in training camp to clean up his technique and to define his position. But in my opinion, when you got those guys that don't have a true defined position, no matter how, usually they are always great athletes or elite athletes are close to it. They just never true pan out. But his unique situation is he can sit out the rest of the year and re-enter the draft next year. So, apparently Mike Brown, who's an old stubborn man, who reminds you of that dude off of Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights. That's one of my favorite movies to watch during Christmas time now. He reminds you of the old man, just stubborn man. He don't want to move off of it. And if I'm Shemar Stewart, the NIL, hopefully a lot of them dudes was tucking that money away in the NIL. I know they wasting it, niggas driving Bentleys and shit like that. You tuck that money away just in case something like this happens. That's the one thing about it, that with the NIL money, that's the first time they're probably gonna be able, they're gonna have to they be able to practice, see how quick 500,000 go, 1,000,000 go, 2-3 million go. You're gonna see how fast that money really, it depletes. And hopefully that prequel, they get the real thing, they're able to take care of it. I know the dude Allen Robinson, his dad used to go to this barbershop I went to or whatever. His dad, they had money. So, he taking care of his money. Receiver, Jaguars, Bears, Lions last year. I think he might have retired. He know how to take care of his money. You know what I'm saying? So it's just to the point where you hoping these guys are taking care of that NIL money. Instead of just wasting it. You know what I'm saying? You hopefully, for situations like this, you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. That money that you get, man, live in the dorms or get you a nice little ducked off apartment. Live in minimalist. As men, we are built to live as minimalists. The reason we get houses and cars and stuff like that, we get that for family. If we ain't got no family, we minimalist. So all that extra shit, you don't need that. Going to the club, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully he seemed like a well down to earth young brother. He took care of his bread, but the Browns being the Browns. You know what I'm saying? If I'm him, I'm not signing that, because they can deem I did something. They can spin I did something. Some woman can lie, and then I lose all my money. Then where I'm at, I don't have reputation. I don't have money. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, ain't nobody else signing it. Why you asking me to sign it? So thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the NFL playlist, hit the link in the description, the link tree, check out the Patreon, me on X, Facebook, Detroit channel, all my other stuff in there as well too. Peace.